by saying NVIDIA is NVIDIA. But thank you very much. Much appreciate. Deepak has been wonderful to have invited me. They've been very powerful speakers. You already have a great background to what is being spoken in this lovely country of ours, all about Digital India, Make in India. Very powerful, extremely important. But all of us, a lot of you I recognize because we've all grown together for many, many years. We are very proud of a fact that we represent information technology. And within that, we often forget something that is the very foundation of the digital world. May I just check with you, how many of you remember what is the foundation of the digital world? Any guesses? Okay, let's put it this way. If I was Atlantic, the magazine, established in 1857, and I asked every historian, every technologist, what are the top 5 inventions mankind has done post inventing the wheel? That's 6,000 years. What do you think would be some of the names? Electricity, yes.
Microprocessor.
Okay, that's a good way to look at it, and it's actually semiconductor. So the top 5 inventions after the wheel, which is printing press, electricity, penciling, semiconductor, eyeglasses. We represent semiconductor industry. Why do I bring this up? I bring this up fundamentally because IT, or the semiconductor industry by itself, represents the entire economy of India. That's the impact. We talk about 1 out of every 7 human beings on the planet using Facebook. That's hyperconnectivity. We're talking about, in just next 2 years, there'll be 10 billion phones with 77 billion applications uploaded on that. We're going to be talking about 50 billion connections of internet objects. And that's just 1% of the connections, not even a big number. Had it not been for the semiconductor industry, there would have been no internet, there wouldn't have been any digital age, everything would have stopped, there wouldn't have been phones, there wouldn't have been any connectivity. If you really look at it from the policymakers, and there are many of them right here, if we talk about science, technology, engineering, and mathematics as the primary discipline, and the semiconductor is being manufactured here in our country, I assure you that the salary scales would be at least 3 to 4 times the average what is here. It just changes the entire landscape, and a classical example is United States. Anybody who comes from that industry is 2 times the average of salary of any other person. From an economic perspective, if we were to look at just the innovation aspect, and we have seen how quickly our phones have changed. There's a complete transformation of the way the phones were built. It wasn't a long time back, it was just in 1997 that we started seeing mobile phones in our hand. They were vanilla phones. And then even when people started saying, hey, they're becoming smart, we were talking about 3 or 4 applications, and literally we're doing everything over the phones. That entire transformation has taken place, making our lives better. They're making our lives better because it helps us to be connected. It makes elections, it's a year of elections right now in the United States, it's combating so many other problems around that part. Healthcare becomes better, whole lot of benefits around it. The next big revolution is really on the automotive side. You're already hearing about autonomous vehicles. A lot of people say, oops, India, the day you can do autonomous vehicles here, that's going to be wonderful because you just can't figure out how do you really create decision trees for a chaotic traffic management that is here. But look at the benefits of the autonomous vehicle. If there are autonomous vehicles flying on a single lane, minute by minute control, we will reduce the traffic management part of it. Healthcare. The minister spoke about it. He spoke about how healthcare through semiconductor can actually change the pricing points. People are already talking about pricing points where in refugee camps, in diverse areas, you can still go and give solutions which are sub 10,000 rupees, 15,000 kind of rupees. There's been an entire transformation on the way we make transfer of money. We don't need to carry cash. We can transfer money over the phones. That's what this entire transformation of semiconductor industry has made. But ladies and gentlemen, we've grown in India, in IT, and made a huge impact through our youth, which has written handcrafted codes. Being a young country, there's another transformation that's taking place just adjoining us. And that's all got to do with artificial intelligence. Now, artificial intelligence has been a science available since 1959. It's had many promises and it has flopped many a times. But right in front of us, starting in 1997, if you remember, the IBM system was created which defeated Garry Kasparov at chess. And everybody said that the machines have arrived because if you can take the world's most famous chess player and beat him at his game, then the computers can literally do everything. However, there were a set of physicists who stated that if you can make a program for defeating a person in chess, even at the caliber of Garry Kasparov, it'll take you 100 years to make a computer programmed if you've got to go and defeat someone at a board game called Go. Go is a Chinese game. It's been there for ancient years. The permutation combinations are infinitely much more than chess. However, in year 2015, early 2016, DeepMind, a company that was bought by Google eventually, defeated the Garry Kasparov equivalent, a guy called Lee Sedol, or the Roger Federer of tennis. Lee Sedol was defeated by computers 4:1, and this time the code was not handwritten. The computer was taught over the years how to play the Go game. It started off by playing with amateurs, learned it, lost many a times, and eventually then started playing with professionals. After beating the professionals, it then went and played with Lee Sedol, and it defeated it 4:1. So what was supposed to be done in 100 years, the technology got compressed and became so powerful that in less than 18 years you could make a big difference. And that was the emergence of artificial intelligence. As machines are becoming smart, informative, there's a new technique that is in front of us called deep learning. Deep learning is a way how you teach a computer through data. Now people say that there is 40 zettabytes of data. IDC says that data doubles every 2 years. With that humongous data, with that 80% of that humongous data being unstructured data, how do you find insights? The insight can only be found if you can find patterns, and machines are very good at finding patterns and objects. If the cars have to be autonomous, you cannot program them. They have to learn. There can be so many conditions which are never been thought about, and if they're not programmed, how are the cars going to be safe? The cars can only be safe if they learn like us, if they mimic the human brain, and if they can work along with us. So the first thing that's really happening in deep learning, which you all, by the way, are well versed. I see many of you looking at your phones. If you were to talk onto your phones, you can get to understand feedbacks. For example, you say, hey, what is the clipboard? Is my flight on my time? and Siri, OK, and multiple of these virtual assistants give you that response. The banks, if you're getting calls from 0120 numbers, you can even hear chatbots. These are accents that are understood by us. They do a very good conversation. Of course, there are people who say, hey, why would I talk to a chatbot? And a lot of us disconnect their phones. But look at a situation that you are in an emergency. You can't get to a call center because all the operators are busy, and you need a solution to it. If there's a chatbot that can work with humanity together, doesn't it solve your problem? So pretty much, I think in about 5 to 7 years, chatbots, virtual assistants are going to be way of our lives. Wake up in the morning, get ready for the car, tell the car that you need to go to the office, it tells you the temperature, warm up your car accordingly, read your newspaper, drives you across, and in case there's a traffic jam, even finds out which is the alternate route, gets you to your meeting, your calendar basically tells you, hey, because you are on time, meeting so-and-so is in place, the other person comes and talks. That's the power of artificial intelligence, deep learning. Data that we spoke about. The data that we spoke about is the oil of the digital age. How do we use it? And there's 80% of the data which is unstructured, unlabeled, that has a lot of insight, and we need to figure out how that is going to happen. And that's only going to happen when the machines can look at it, machines can find out the patterns, machines can find out the objects that we're going to be able to transform that. If we have virtual assistants, if we have the data, then we are really looking at many innovations that are going to come forward with us. Now, the more I look at everybody in this room, including myself, there's this massive change that we need to undertake. How in this age of mobility, how in this age of cloud, are we going to make a difference of the service that we provide, the sale that we make, and how do we gain that extra margin that we all work for? And that is only possible if you keep your eyeballs on this change that is happening. If you have a great idea, look at how you can apply it by using machine learning. Companies like us have taken years of experience in applying deep learning to the chip that we manufacture. And all that experience, all that knowledge that has been gathered by multiple guys have reduced the span in which we can bring new processors. So if we used to take 18 months to bring out processors, now we're talking about 12 months with zero effect. Sir just spoke to you about zero effect part of it. We're able to do that with the knowledge base. If you guys are talking about how do I bring value to my end customer, you need to think about deep learning and bring that into action. If you're talking about manufacturing, if you really want to basically really view what's going to happen, virtual reality has to be in place. Virtual reality with physical properties needs to be applied. Because how will you distinguish that what you have prototyped is what is closer to the physical world? They tell me, at an average, the distinction between a virtual prototype to a physical prototype can be 9 to 10 iterations. For a country, for an individual, for a company, if you're going to do 9 to 10 iterations, that means more time. And you do more time because the moment you prototype on a computer, the lighting is the major cause of its failure. Lighting on computers is guesstimated. It's not precise. And when you take it into a physical part, it changes. But if the computing can do realistic lighting, physically material-based rendering, then you can reduce the iterations. So think VR, think immersive, think physical material, think deep learning, and there is a big, big difference. The community here can really make a big difference. With that, the note says, with respect, please end your conversation. Thank you very much for listening, and I'm here, happy to answer any of your questions.